Well, as we approach the new year, time for us to take a look back and see what 2006 meant for the real estate market, to ask the question, what can we expect in 2007? Here to help us address both of those areas is Associate Broker at Prudential, Douglas Elliman, Darius Solomon. Darius, it's always great to see you.
Always a pleasure.
What a year for real estate in 2006. It was really a year where the mindset of a lot of buyers and sellers totally flipped.
We definitely saw changes, and we moved from a seller's market into a buyer's market, and it's two completely different markets for us to be able to absorb in 1 year. So it's definitely.
The interesting thing, though, is that in Manhattan especially, some changes that are different from what's going on nationally.
There's always been a level of, New York by no means, or Manhattan, is not immune to what's going on in the rest of the country, but it has always remained somewhat insulated. And as we've seen shifts where we've actually seen declines outside of New York City, in New York City, although we've seen softening in the markets and the shift into a buyer's market, we've also still had increases in prices since last year. So it can be very confusing to the buyer and seller.
Okay, so a lot of people with the new year, maybe they're going to be going out looking for a house or going to buy a house. Let's start with the buyers. Good time to buy?
Definitely a good time to buy. As we had anticipated before, or we've seen, the interest rates remain historically low. And even if we look at this time last year and down, the interest rates have remained at about 6%.
And people got spoiled.
They definitely got spoiled, especially before that. Now, in the sense of inventory increased as well. We're at about 7,200 units right now on the market, which means you have a lot of choice. Negotiability is up as well. So for the buyer going out there looking to buy long term, especially, I'm still very cautious about speculators or investment purchasing. But if you're looking to buy for the long term, it is a great time to go out and look to buy.
All right, what if you're out to sell?
Selling is a little bit tougher now. There's no doubt. You know, it is not the greatest time to sell. Last year we saw a booming market. It was hard to keep an apartment on the market for a week. Right now, a few things that the seller has to take into account is realistic pricing. That is the most important. Realistically priced apartments will still sell. And also, in a sense, you know, we say don't be too greedy. If you purchased your house in 2000, 2001, 2002, even 2003, you will have most likely seen gains since that time. Don't necessarily use last year's booming market prices for your sale price. You have to be realistic, look at the current prices, and you can still make a profit from that time.
Right. I mean, you're looking at your cost, your cost of that apartment or that house that you're selling. You're still going to do well in the New York City area.
Exactly. And, you know, just being realistic is the key here.
Let's look ahead, because there's some interesting developments coming up. A lot of condo construction this year. How is that going to affect the market next year? Because a lot of people are afraid maybe we'll see the glut there's a scene now in places like Miami.
Well, and this is a scenario that's still developing. You know, we have seen a lot. Manhattan is still 80% co-op and 20% condo. So there's always going to be a specific drive and a slightly higher price on the condominiums. But as we move ahead, there is, you know, everybody's looking to see the new units coming to market. Will that soften some of the condominium prices going forward? Still, this is an unknown. As we move into New Year, as we see the properties come to market, we'll see how that might affect it. But there is a possibility we'll see more pressure on condo prices.
One final note here, the fourth quarter sales figures are coming out. Now, for those of us not in the industry, why is that key?
Well, the fourth quarter is going to reflect the end of the year. All this that we're talking about, we've been looking at the numbers along. As we're anticipating that sometime next week, we'll probably get the results where we can really look at what happened between the summer and the fourth quarter sales. That'll be an important step for us to look at the real average prices and be able to say, where did the prices shift from summertime to now, and then we'll really be able to come up with a sort of a step forward of where the market is moving.
Well, it's been an interesting year, Darius. We want to thank you so much for joining us and bringing us up to date on an interesting year in real estate. Thanks
Always
again.
A pleasure.
Remember, if you'd like more information about the current Manhattan real estate market, you can log on to our website, WNBC.com. Still